Well, hello again and welcome back to the Tim Buchanan Coaches Show. I'm Craig Harbuck with the Aledo Athletic Booster Club along with head football coach and athletic director Tim Buchanan. Well, Coach, we're 6-2, which means we're right in the middle of the season. And if we play our cards right, we are right in the middle of the season, which means we'll be playing for the state championship, we hope. Sort of give us an 8-game recap of where we've been and sort of where we're going.
Well, you know, non-district season didn't start out as well as what we wanted, losing to Stephenville and Lake Travis, but those are two really, really good football teams. The district season has panned out a lot better, undefeated in district, playing much better defensively is probably the biggest thing that has happened during the district schedule. Right.
Well, so hopefully, like I said, we're right halfway through it, and we're going to look back in 8 more weeks or 9 more weeks, and hopefully we'll have just played the state championship game. But we don't look that far out. We just played the mighty Azle Hornets, who drove down from Azle about 20 minutes away. Interesting football game, needless to say. We talked about it in our show last week about their potential and opportunities that they may have, and they played a pretty good game.
Like I said last week, Devin Doris is a good football coach, and he came in with a game plan of they had 2 goals, and we found out one of them after the game. But you know, their goal was to try to slow us down, and they did so. I don't think they snapped a ball with more than 1 second on the 25-second clock. So they managed. They slowed the game down, kept our offense off the field as much as they could. Matter of fact, we got 38 offensive snaps. We normally have 40 snaps in the first half,
wow.
And we had a total of 38. And then their other goal was to try to make Jonathan Grace still be in the game in the fourth quarter. He hadn't been in the game past halfway through the third quarter in any district game, and they wanted to force Jonathan to still be in the game in the fourth quarter, and almost made it. He took his last snap on the last play of the third quarter, which is the most minutes he's played this year. In a district game.
I think he had 168 yards, 296 total. We never ever talk about officials, or we never ever talk about penalties, but we did have 3 touchdowns called back.
He had almost 200 yards of offense called
back. So yeah. We don't add that in. We don't usually talk about that. But 49-3, we did win. We're still undefeated in district, and this week kind of a special game. It's not only is it Thursday, Birdville, really the game that's going to decide who's going to win district, but it's also on ESPNU.
Yeah, it's going to be televised. It sounds like it's going to be nationally televised. I thought it was just going to be regional, but it sounds like it's going to be shown all over the United States, anybody who has ESPNU. Really neat. A lot of stuff that goes into that game that you find as a head coach who doesn't have a secretary. There's a lot of paperwork involved. They want bios for every kid. They want bios for every coach. They want record stats, the history of the school, a lot of things that ESPN wants prior to the kickoff of the game. And so been working on that. Just got off an hour-long interview with them about our kids and how our team works and how we do everything.
Should be fun to play on ESPNU. If you're a Bearcat fan and you're out there and you don't live here anymore, shucks, you can find your local ESPNU provider and watch a little Bearcat football. But more importantly, we're playing Birdville.
That's the number one thing. And I've known Jim Skinner, their head coach over there, for quite a few years. When I was an assistant coach in College Station, and he was at Cayuga, right up the road from us. He would bring his staff down, and we'd have staff meetings and talk football, talk defense, talk offense. So I've known him for a long time. He's one of the best coaches in the state. He's 65 years old and still coaching, which anybody who's 65 and still coaching, you got to have a lot of respect for him. And he was at Alvarado, and we had some really good battles when he was at Alvarado, and now we're right back at it again now that he's at Birdville.
That should be a great football game. There was some confusion about game time, but it is at 7 o'clock, right?
7 p.m. When we first started, when it was going through the Longhorn Network, ESPN said at that time that it would be an 8 o'clock Central Time kickoff. But when we went with ESPNU, we were able to find a 7 o'clock start, which is a lot better for our kids. A televised game is going to be a 3-hour game,
right.
and if you play it start at 8, it means we don't get done until 11. By the time we get back to the field house, it's 12. By the time the kids get in bed, it's 1 a.m. And that's not good on a Thursday night.
That's school next day.
Yeah, they got to go to school the next day.
Anyway, so 7 o'clock game time. If you can make it out there, Birdville Stadium. If you need directions, go to the Aledo ISD website. You can go through athletics, and they give you directions there. If we look past Birdville, which we never like to look past an opponent, we do have our final game of the year, which is against Brewer. It's sort of a special game. It seems like every week we have something really cool going on, but it's blackout.
Yep.
Last week against Aza, we had the pink out game to support breast cancer, and just a little toot the horn of the Booster Club. We did sell about 600 or so T-shirts and cut a check for $3,000 to the Susan G. Komen Foundation at halftime of the game. So that was exciting. But this week the band's got their blackout coming up.
So buy you a blackout T-shirt from the band, and then that'll be the Brewer game, and then also the Brewer game. That's our final home game. So it will be senior parents night for football. We'll recognize all the senior parents for all the work they've done, and driving kids to football practice for the last 10 years, starting in Pee Wee back when they were first graders. But it's a big deal for the parents, big deal for those seniors. It most likely be the last game they play at Bearcat Stadium.
Right.
Some of them will be the last time they get to suit up and get out there on the field in a football game in Bearcat Stadium, and it gets emotional for some of those seniors.
Great football coming up. Of course, we're not looking past Birdville, but the Brewer game, which is on the 4th, I think, Friday the 4th, blackout with the band, senior parent night, which is going to be exciting. You have a little monument unveiling that game?
I hope so. we put a little pressure on Davey Vestal, and he's doing everything he can to get that monument done so that we can unveil that state championship monument, for the 2010 monument. And he's had some trouble trying to get the thing through customs and get it from India and all that type of stuff. But he's doing a good job of trying to get it. It's not his fault that we don't have it.
Right. Well, hopefully we can dedicate that thing. If we look past that game, we're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, we clinched playoff berth with the win over Hazel. We don't know if we're going to be first, second, third, whatever, but we have clinched. We will play a team out of Fort Worth ISD, basically, because District 5 plays District 6. District 6 is 100% Fort Worth ISD schools. We have no idea if it's going to be who it will be. It'll be we will be a small school Division II playoff bracket team simply because of our enrollment. We're the second smallest in the district. There's no way that we can go big school. But in Fort Worth, it's not quite that clean cut.
Right.
We won't know until probably next Friday night after the Brewer game who we're going to play.
Right. Playoffs, you hope everything's gelling and clicking. Of course, offensively, I think we all talked about that, how offensively we're hitting on all cylinders, it seems like. Defense, come around, kids are making plays, they're not chasing anymore. I mean, they're truly anticipating. I mean, special teams.
Yeah.
Special teams is something that we sort of looked at and from a standpoint of get a kicker, find a kicker, we have a kicker. Well, we've got snapper, holder, kicker.
Oh, yeah. When you look at our special teams right now, Garrett Ellis is handling the punting and the kickoffs, and Garrett had some of the best kickoffs the last 2 weeks, not just this last week. And with him putting the ball where it's supposed to be on the kickoffs, now guys like Parker Bradham and Baker Roberson both have done a great job of getting down and covering on kickoffs, along with Jordan Mitty. So our kickoffs, nearly every kickoff, we pinned them inside the 20 the other night. So great job on kickoffs. Extra points and field goals, Chance Navarez has kind of come into his own, and we're doing a better job of protecting. Devin Watts is a great holder, but that Harbuck kid, I don't know if you related to him or not, but
barely.
Madison Harbuck is one of the best snappers I've been around. I mean, and he snaps better under pressure. He's not always great in practice. He likes to horse around every once in a while, but in a game when it's a the tighter the game, the better his snaps are, which is exactly what you want as a coach. And that group, as a whole, our offense, our defense, and our special teams are all starting to come together, and that's exactly what you want.
Well, it takes everybody. Once again, this Thursday, do we want to touch on any other sports right now?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. We're getting ready to run our district cross country meet. Will be this Saturday morning, and again, those kids are doing a great job. The Cassidy girl and then Colby Caldwell.
Canada.
Sorry, not Cassidy. Yeah. Canada. And then Colby is. I talked to him this morning, and he's excited. He's got a couple of seniors that have got a little bit better times than he does in cross country, and he's bound to determine he's going to win that district cross country title, not only as a team but as an individual.
Now keep in mind they're both freshmen.
Both freshmen, and there's quite a few freshmen on that group.
Right.
Volleyball has clinched the playoff berth. They're getting ready to start. They have a warm up game this Friday night. They're undisputed district champions, and we'll play Coppell Friday night at home at 6:30, which is a big deal because we play on football on Thursday, so most everybody will be able to come watch the volleyball game on Friday night, except for JV and freshman football parents, because of Thursday night games in Birdville, we had to play our freshman and JV games, football games on Friday this week. Yeah,
gotcha. Okay, a lot of good things going on. Birdville against Aledo coming up on ESPNU at a Birdville Stadium. Game time's at 7. You may have heard 7, 7:30, or 8, but it is 7 o'clock. Once again, the Coaches Show with Coach Buchanan here is being brought to you by the Aledo Athletic Booster Club, and we're sort of launching, we've been launching over the last few weeks our mobile application. So if you will log on to www.aledofootball.mobi, not only can you watch the Coaches Show, but you can look at the rosters and bios and coaches' bios and pictures from various games. And it's really come together as a great tool to promote what we're doing here. So once again, on behalf of the Aledo Athletic Booster Club, I'm Craig Harbuck, and good luck on Thursday, Coach.
Thank you.